Let's cover the top 20 vocal plugins of all time. These are my personal picks, so definitely let me know what you think are the best. I haven't tried every plugin out there, so I always appreciate new recommendations. Lastly, this video isn't sponsored in any way. These are just the plugins that I've found to be the most useful over the past 15 years or so. From spots 20 down to 15, we have the FabFilter plugins. I want to get the obvious out of the way first. FabFilter makes great plugins that are flexible and well optimized. Now, the most useful ones, in my opinion, are the Pro Q3, Saturn II, Pro C2, Timeless 3, Pro R, and the Pro DS. The Pro Q3 feels like a reliable and easy-to-use stock EQ with mid-side, right-left functionality and a variety of filters and phase options. Saturn provides top-quality frequency-specific saturation and optional modulation. The Pro C2 is probably the most fleshed out and logical compressor that I've used. Look ahead with a quick attack, and the vocal algorithm can instantly bring a vocal right to the front of the mix. Timeless offers everything that you'd need from a delay plugin, from classic delays to incredibly complex modulation. Pro R feels like the stock algorithmic reverb plugin everyone should have. It's not flashy or complicated, it's just great sounding and flexible enough to work on any application. Lastly, Pro DS does what it should do without significant artifacts, more than what could be said for a lot of DSers. So let's take a listen to a vocal chain created with these plugins. I'll enable each one at a time so that you can hear how they control and augment the vocal.
Been a minute since I stepped outside these gates. Everywhere I go, I'm reminded of your face. It's been a minute since I stepped outside these gates. Everywhere I go, I'm reminded of your face.
At number 14, we have any convolution or impulse response loader. So originally, I was going to put the Altiverb here, but I've noticed that I use Logic stock impulse response loader a lot more often. Now, aside from the great sound impulse responses provide, they're also free more often than not. Many engineers just want to share the impulse responses that they've made of their favorite gear, so all it really takes to create the sound of a unit that you've wanted to try is to search online, find the files, then drag and drop them into a convolution plugin. For example, my Alesis microverb stopped working recently and I haven't had the time to fix it, so I found free impulse responses that someone made of their unit, and they sound 99% like the original. Also, I could tweak the files, reverse them, and just generally have more flexibility using the plugin instead of the hardware. So let's check out impulse responses from an M7 unit and an Alesis microverb unit loaded into a convolution plugin.
I won't never sell my soul, I keep with the flow. Life gon' weigh you down, but he teach me to flow. Hardly see me bold, no, I stick to the code. I won't never sell my soul, I keep with the flow. Life gon' weigh you down, but he teach me to flow. Hardly see me bold, no, I stick to the code.
At number 13, we have Thorus by UVI. This complex plugin is presented in an easily understandable and really approachable way. It's a chorus plugin with up to 8 voices, frequency-specific amplitudes, variable speed and detuning functions, and 2 stereo image modes, making this a great option for BGVs to get them out of the center image. As we'll cover later, some chorus plugins are significantly more complex. Still, I found this one to be a time-effective way to add complexity to a vocal, especially group vocals. Let's take a listen to it.
Humankind ain't always kind. It's hard to see past all the hate, but you show me there's still beauty in this place. Humankind ain't always kind. It's hard to see past all the hate, but you show me there's still beauty in this place.
For number 12, we have MuteTube by Pulsar. So this is, simply put, a great sounding compressor plugin. It's typically used as a bus compressor, but it works incredibly well on any vocal that you want to compress gently while imparting moderate, low-order harmonics and, strangely, some subharmonics. As you'd imagine, it's great as a vocal bus compressor if you need to tie various performances together. It works slightly differently than most compressors. The ratio is a gentle 1.5 to 1. If you use it on the vocals, start with 0 dB input and output gain, then lower the threshold significantly and increase the gain until you achieve smooth sounding compression. Now, one weird thing about this plugin is the unusually high noise floor, which has its amplitude tied to the amplitude of the harmonics. Now, there must have been some reason to include that, but I'm still trying to figure out what that might be. But let's take a listen to it and how it pleasantly condenses the vocal's sound.
Been a minute since I stepped outside these gates. Everywhere I go, I'm reminded of your face. It's been a minute since I stepped outside these gates. Everywhere I go, I'm reminded of your face.
Up next at number 11 is Little Altar Boy by Sound Toys. So this one's a classic. I love it for quickly adding distortion to a vocal and maybe some subtle to not so subtle tuning with the middle panel. Now, of course, the format and the pitch shifting are the main highlights here. Both sound fantastic and reliably alter just about any vocal regardless of their frequency response. Now, a free alternative is this PitchMonk plugin by Vox Samples. You might not feel as cool using this plugin, but the sound is incredibly close. Let's check out Little Altar Boy.
I won't never sell my soul, I keep with the flow. Like gon' weigh you down, but he teach me to flow.
Hardly see me bold, no, I stick to the code. I won't never sell my soul, I keep with the flow.
Like gon' weigh you down, but he teach me to flow.
Hardly see me bold, no, I stick to the code.
Real quick, if you want to get your mixes to sound like professional songs, we have a mixing membership called the Sage Audio Membership, where you get access to Sage Audio University for in-depth mixing and mastering courses, private one-on-one mentorship, unlimited personalized mixing feedback, and 50 free mastered songs per year. Go to sageaudio.com or use the link in the description. At number 10, we have Soothe 2 by Oak Sound. So, I've shared some negative opinions about this plugin in a previous video, but those opinions are more geared toward overusing the plugin than the plugin itself. If I have a vocal that's unpleasant, regardless of how it's equalized, compressed, etc., then this plugin definitely keeps me from pulling out my hair. By removing aggressive resonances, the vocal becomes easier to listen to. But, as I've said before, I just don't like hearing this plugin on every new mix. It kind of removes the uniqueness of different productions. Regardless, it's a fantastic plugin that's well designed, well optimized, and it's worth having in case it's needed. Let's take a listen to it, taming some aggressive resonances on a vocal.
Humankind ain't always kind. It's hard to see past all the hate, but you show me there's still beauty in this place. Humankind ain't always kind. It's hard to see past all the hate, but you show me there's still beauty in this place.
At number 9, we have Melodyne by Celemony. So other plugin developers have tried to copy Melodyne's design and level of control, but the original setup still seems to be the best for this style of tuning. It works by playing or importing the vocal, letting the plugin separate the vocal into distinct pitch blocks, and then allowing us to go in and adjust as needed. Now, even with the entry-level version, which I have here, I still have a lot more control over it than with any traditional tuner. I can collectively or individually adjust the pitch and the pitch fluctuation within a note, remove passages, affect the timing, and more. Now, advanced versions also allow for precise vibrato alterations and even greater control of formants, harmonics, etc. But if you haven't already, try this entry-level version and see if you like it. Let's take a listen.
It's been a minute since I stepped outside these gates. Everywhere I go, I'm reminded of your face. It's been a minute since I stepped outside these gates. Everywhere I go, I'm reminded of your face.
At number 8, we have Vintage Warmer 2 by PSP. So this is a classic plugin typically used as a bus or mix bus processor. I found it fantastic for individual vocals or vocal buses. Multiple band saturation levels and release times allow you to shape the vocal's timbre, while the basic EQ helps shape the tone after compression and saturation. Now, it seems like an odd choice for vocals, but take a listen and notice how much fuller the vocals become.
I won't never sell my soul, I keep with the flow. Like gon' weigh you down, but he teach me to flow. Hardly see me bold, no, I stick to the code. I won't never sell my soul, I keep with the flow. Like gon' weigh you down, but he teach me to flow. Hardly see me bold, no, I stick to the code.
For number 7, we have Infinistrip by PSP. Now, I'm not a huge fan of channel strip plugins, but this one sounds great and it offers impressive flexibility. It's a zero latency processor, including over 21 500 series-esque modules, each straightforward in design, purpose, and functionality. It includes preamps of various eras with gain riding, filters, EQs with unique filter types and curves, compressors with distinct behaviors, limiters, de-essers, and a lot more. I was skeptical of this plugin at first, but after using it for a bit, I'm genuinely impressed by the sound quality. So let's take a listen to a chain that's created with the Infinistrip.
Humankind ain't always kind. It's hard to see past all the hate, but you show me there's still beauty in this place. Humankind ain't always kind. It's hard to see past all the hate, but you show me there's still beauty in this place.
At number 6, we have Model H3000 by Eventide. This is the complex chorus plugin I was referring to earlier, but thankfully, there are a lot of presets to get us started. Routing, minute parameters, and just about every function imaginable could be altered, but the important thing here is that it sounds good. A personal favorite of mine is the Tripler preset. It instantly adds a classic character to the vocal while thickening and making it more complex. But with hundreds of presets and immense flexibility, I imagine you'll have a different go-to preset if you use the plugin. Let's take a listen to a couple of them.
Been a minute since I stepped outside these gates. Everywhere I go, I'm reminded of your face. It's been a minute since I stepped outside
these gates. Everywhere I go,
I'm reminded of your face.
At number 5, we have Metatune by Slate Digital. So Metatune kind of gets slept on. To me, and based on the reviews, it seems that everyone who's used it says it sounds better than Autotune, has a better interface, and it's more flexible. The optional time windows for note snapping is a great function. The doubler is fantastic when I'm tuning BGVs, and 3 milliseconds of look ahead offers a really unique but usable effect that other tuners don't offer. I can understand why people go with Autotune, but give this one a try, and you might feel the same way I do.
I won't never sell my soul, I keep with the flow. Life gon' weigh you down, but he teach me to flow. Hardly see me bold, no, I stick to the code. I won't never sell my soul, I keep with the flow. Life gon' weigh you down, but he teach me to flow. Hardly see me bold, no, I stick to the code.
At number 4, we have Delay Tape 201 by Arturia. So in the past, I've been tempted to buy a Roland Space Echo unit, but thankfully, this plugin exists and it saved me from making that financial mistake. Now, I've used a real one before, and this plugin doesn't sound identical, but it gets impressively close. More so than any other plugin emulation that I've tried, including Universal Audios. It also includes some additional functions, like 2 preamps, an input EQ, some noise and modulation controls, and an LFO that could be easily linked to any function and synced to the BPM. For about 1/50th the price of the unit that it's emulating, at least at the time of writing this since it's on sale, it's a great deal for such an incredibly useful plugin. Let's take a listen.
Humankind ain't always kind. It's hard to see past all the hate, but you show me there's still beauty in this place. Humankind ain't always kind. It's hard to see past all the hate, but you show me there's still beauty in this place.
For number 3, we have the DS1 Mark III by Softtube and Weiss. So you might have heard the marketing behind this plugin, how it's a one-to-one code of the original unit software, which I still think is pretty amazing, but what makes this plugin valuable in my opinion is its kind of clean sound, but not really. Like it's transparent, but it also has a really distinct character. It's kind of hard to describe. I've used the units, and it sounds a lot like them. I'm assuming that the conversion plays a role in the unit's character, but it still feels a lot like using the unit. On vocals, the bandwidth function is perfect for cleaning up the low mids or de-essing with either a narrow band or a high-pass filter. The parallel compression function works how it should, unlike most parallel functions in compressors, and mid-side processing with delinking offers an effective way to target a particular part of the centered or stereo image if you're processing post-reverb or on a vocal bus. So, all in all, it's flexible, it sounds great, and it includes presets from Bobcats, so I'm a big fan. Let's take a listen to it, and let me know if you hear that strange clean but not so clean sound that I mentioned a moment ago.
Been a minute since I stepped outside these gates. Everywhere I go, I'm reminded of your face. It's been a minute since I stepped outside these gates. Everywhere I go, I'm reminded of your face.
At number 2, we have Fresh Air by Slate Digital. So, some of you might be rolling your eyes at this one, but I can't lie, I love this plugin on vocals. It seems like a simple EQ, but it also introduces harmonics and imparts subtle wave shaping. The two filters interact with one another, similar to how Pultec's low-frequency boost and cut functions interact, but most importantly, it offers an incredibly effective way to increase the brightness and the clarity of a vocal, especially if it's used at the end of a chain after some temporal effects. Let's take a listen to it with subtle to moderate settings.
I won't never sell my soul, I keep with the flow. Life gon' weigh you down, but he teach me to flow. Hardly see me bold, no, I stick to the code. I won't never sell my soul, I keep with the flow. Life gon' weigh you down, but he teach me to flow. Hardly see me bold, no, I stick to the code.
Now, the best vocal plugin, at least in my opinion, is Neural Amp Modeler by Stephen Atkinson. It doesn't look like much, but I genuinely believe that this plugin, or one like it, will become an invaluable tool for engineers in the not-so-distant future. In short, machine learning can be used to create an imprint of hardware. By that, I mean the harmonic distortion, noise, frequency response, stereo imaging, ADSR, and more can all be captured pretty faithfully by running signals at varying amplitudes and frequencies through the unit while the software measures any changes. This gets converted into a file that can be loaded into this free modeler, just like an impulse response. Like impulse responses, people create files based on their favorite gear and release them for free. So, let's check out the model for a Studer tape machine set to a higher amplitude. Notice that when I increase the input, the THD, the timbre, and frequency response all gradually adjust convincingly. Then we'll try a more subtle model of a Neve 1073 preamp. Again, the input and the output levels significantly change the model's behavior.
Humankind ain't always kind. It's hard to see past all the hate, but you show me there's still beauty in this place. Humankind ain't always kind. It's hard to see past all the hate, but you show me there's still beauty in this place.
As I mentioned earlier, if you want to get your mixes to sound like professional songs, we have a mixing membership called the Sage Audio Membership, where you get access to Sage Audio University for in-depth mixing and mastering courses, private one-on-one mentorship, unlimited personalized mixing feedback, and 50 free mastered songs per year. Go to sageaudio.com or use the link in the description.